A positional advantage, for example, a big center with equal material should already be winning in chess, and yet so many people threw it again and again. In this video, I will show you how to win a game after you've built a superior center, with the example of a game that two German masters in 1907, von Scheve and Teichmann, played. It's probably one of the most instructive chess games that you have ever seen, and later in the video I will show you a powerful framework to build winning tactical moves in your games with the superior position that you have achieved, just like in the game study. So let's dive into it. The game starts as an Italian game with e4, e5, bishop c5, and now c3, aiming straight at the center with this move, right? Black decides to play queen e7, which is a fine move. Today this move is way more common. Now white castles, black develops, and white pushes for the center, which is what we want to see in games, right? So black comes back, and now white plays a4. a4 is an interesting move. Think about what you would play in this position. But if you said something like developing with knight f6, this is actually a blunder because you would kick the knight away with this move. So the knight goes to d8, and then you can actually trap the bishop with a5. White is threatening to trap the bishop, and therefore black needs to be careful, and in this case and plays a6. Now a6 is a fine move, but what is quite inaccurate is the following: a5. The idea of a5 is that if the bishop takes, then d5 kicks the knight away once again, and now white can win the bishop, right? However, a5 is actually no problem whatsoever if black just takes with the knight. With knight takes a5, white has actually no option to win material. So when von Scheve played this move, he was actually just hoping for black to blunder. He was hoping for black to make the wrong move, but black didn't do that and played instead bishop to a7, which is a great move, controlling all of this diagonal, pointing right at the king, which is going to be key, as we will see on the next few moves. White here decided to play h3. h3, I'm sure you've heard this a lot, and actually this is now the plus 1.1 advantage. You typically don't want to weaken your king side like this. It's a temporary inconvenience if a move like this follows. So black decides to develop, and we can see at this point how white still has a strong center, but at the same time, if the center opens up, black has a lot of attacking potential like this, and white has given up some control of the king side. Also, notice how black is not castled yet, which tells us that black is really capitalizing on these few inaccurate moves. This move was inaccurate due to develop pieces, not pawns, and this move was inaccurate because it weakened the king side. And what makes it even worse is an equal exchange with d takes e5, which was the next move, actually results in a worse position for white. With every trade, there's a winner and there's a loser, typically. And now white takes back again, and now the queen takes back. Notice how no one has won material, but the queen now is centralized, whereas the important king's knight that belongs on f3 and is a key defender of the king's side is not there anymore. And this bishop, through taking previously in the center, giving up the center that white has built so diligently, now aims right at the king, and there's actually a working attack going on right now. With a weakened center and king side, it's just like this. White now decides to play knight to d2, which looks like a good move, right? It's just developing the pieces, and even though we've given up some of the center, it should be fine. And potentially we can have a defender on f3 for the king side again. I mean, we've just weakened it. But actually, this now allows for black to capture a pawn, because look at bishop takes h3. Notice how this move was only possible after white has played h3. And with this move and a developed centralized queen plus two pieces coming and coordinating white pawn attack, a weakened king side with the pawn takes h3 is actually detrimental. Yet white felt like they had no other choice, because otherwise they would have given up material for free. Which actually is the key point of this video, because when you have superior positional play, like black has in this situation, they centralize the queen, they have the bishop pointing right at the king, and they attack a weakened king side, then you either have the right to start an attack or the right to win material. And if the other player is too greedy, well, then the other player is going to be checkmated, just like on the next moves. Black here continues queen to g3. Notice how black's pieces work beautifully together. The pin of the bishop on this beautiful diagonal actually blocks the pawn from taking the queen, so the only king move is king to h1, to which then follows queen takes h3 followed by king d1, the only move. Now black brings its knight in with knight to g4, and black is actually threatening a checkmate on the next move with queen to h2 mate. So white has no choice than to play knight f3, where now black plays queen g3, white has to respond with king h1, and black, through its superior development, as we can see, gets the right to play these tactical moves that win the game. Because black here plays bishop takes f2, setting up the trap that if the rook takes on f2 back, there's mate in one with knight takes f2. Notice how Teichmann actually built the superior position gradually. At the beginning, of course, there's no real difference, only the opening advantage of white, but white insists on its move basically with a5 here, for example, giving the bishop this right diagonal, and then weakens its king side with multiple moves, allowing the black's bishop to control it And so when your opponent does many of these moves that actually weaken its own position and safety of the king, and the idea also is to try to induce these bad moves from the other side, for example with a threat like this, which may result in white playing h3. Then with a few of these moves and through your superior strategy in the game, you get to play combinations such as this, such as bishop takes, and then if white is too greedy and doesn't accept the lost material, well then, such as in this position, white is going to lose. I should mention, however, that bishop takes f2 technically was a mistake, because white had a powerful counterattack with bishop takes f7, where after the king takes back or moves somewhere else, white plays queen to d5, just checking the king to eternity. So for example, king e7, queen e6, and it would just go on like that. King f8, queen f5. If the king goes here, then queen d5. And black can do nothing about it, so black should have castled beforehand, which again shows us the opening principles. Even still, black was completely winning through the superior position that it's built. And so the powerful framework that I promised in the beginning is that when you have a superior position, you get to play tactical combinations in your games that allow you to either win a lot of material or to checkmate your opponent, as in this case, with sacrificing the bishop as a trap, and then knight takes f2, it's resulting in the checkmate. If you want to access the study, as you can see here, with annotations yourself, then you can do this. Just click the link in the description, and then you can analyze it yourself if you want to. So you can precisely see why this is a mistake, for example. Only if you're interested. So you will see this website, and then on this website you can click the link for the Alicia study, and then you can analyze it yourself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and see you in the next video. Bye.